I'm still wearing the same gear that I was wearing in the last video because I want to get this done. I want to make a point. So big names. The Sedins will be qualified as big names, right? You got to get value back for big names. Let's take a look. First up, Tyler Seguin goes to Dallas with Peverly and Button. Seguin is a lot younger than the Sedins. Much more potential. And what did Boston get back? Louis Eriksson, who was decent and then went as a free agent. Joe Morrow, extra number 7 defenseman. Riley Smith, half decent, and then they traded him for some inexplicable reason. And Matt Fraser, who never panned out. Next up, to San Jose, Joe Thornton. Again, Boston gets fleeced. Wayne Primo, who I liked. Brad Stewart, Stewart I didn't mind. And Marco Sturm, who had a half-decent career, and none of them, and all of them added up, don't equal a Joe Thornton. In another of the Boston fleecings, Colorado picks up Dave Andrechuk and Ray Bourque. Boston gets back Martin Grenier, Sammy Paulson, Brian Rolston, and a first-round pick of their choice. They chose 2001, and they got Martin Samuelsson. Hey, let's stop fleecing the Bruins, shall we? Let's fleece Montreal. Mike Keane and Patrick Waugh go to Colorado. Montreal receives Andrei Kovalenko, Martin Rusinski, and Jocelyn Thibault. All three of them NHL players. All three of them had long careers. Patrick Waugh, 2 Stanley Cups in Colorado. Mike Keane played a small role there as well. So again, you didn't get back what you gave. Sometimes you can try to sneak by adding extra bodies. So Garth Butcher, Matt Sundin, that's the big name in this one. Remember, he was young at this point. This was back in 94. Todd Warner, and a first-round pick, Nolan Baumgartner, which, of course, was Washington's pick by the time it was made. Going to Quebec, Wendell Clark, Sylvain Lefebvre, Landon Wilson, and a first-round pick named Kilty. And I know there's a lot of Wendell Clark fans out there going to say, oh, this was kind of even. It wasn't. It really wasn't, because Matt Sundin, one of the longest-serving Leafs ever that scored the most points, and Wendell Clark, a beast who was over halfway through his career. This was a lopsided deal. Absolutely. Why don't we look at the biggest name of them all? This is Gretzky in his prime. Gretzky traded with Krushelnyski and McSorley to Edmonton or traded to LA by Edmonton for Jimmy Carson, Marty Jelena, 3 first-round draft picks in cash. 3 first-round draft picks sounds great. Jason Miller, Nick Stadge-Duhar, and Martin Rusinski. What is it with Rusinski being part of a trade for a big name? And Toronto fleecing again. Toronto fleecing the other team. Toronto gets Gilmore, McCowan, Manderville, Natras, and Walmsley. Basically guarantees them playoffs for a while. An expense of Craig Berube, Alex Gadiniak. Swear I know how to say that. Gary Lehman, Michel Petit. What? Jeffries. I could never understand whether people were trading for Petit or the team was trading Petit away. I think it was both. I think there were some GMs that didn't realize they weren't supposed to trade for Petit. And so on and so on. Now, when I'm looking, I can find the occasional superstar for a superstar deal. Like I said, you can look at the trade of Iginla for Nieuwendyk, and it worked for both. Right now, there's superstars being talked about being traded. So, Tavares. Even Duchesne to some extent. I know he's not a superstar, but he's still young enough that he could hit that at some point. I remember when Gilmore was traded out of Calgary, he wasn't setting the world on fire. He was a very good player, but he wasn't setting the world on fire. To me, it's not worth the risk. You have that star player. In the case of Ray Bourque, I know he wanted a shot at the cup. And Boston traded him out so he could have that. And I admire them for that. But the package they got back from Colorado was not inspiring. Remember when that trade happened and I looked what they got back and I'm like, Paulson? What? No. Paulson's solid top 6 guy, or bottom 6 guy, but not for Ray Bourque. So when I hear all these talks about trades and I'll see names being mentioned, I'm sorry, but you have to offer back what that player's worth. And if you're a GM and you're demanding that, you're probably not going to get it. Let's say, for instance, Tavares. There's a phone call. Brendan Shanahan, picks up the phone and calls up Garth Snow. and says, hey, we're interested in Tavares. And Gershnell goes, all right. How does Nylander and 2 firsts sound? Shanahan probably answers with, not great. And Snow pauses and says, you know what? We'd be losing a center. What would it take for us to get Austin Matthews? At that point, the phone is hung up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for the moon for a player who's worth it. Somebody asked on a video, what does John Tavares do outside of scoring? He's a very good player. He's a leader. He's the face of the New York Islanders franchise. And if he seems unimpressive at times, it's because his line mates are usually not great. Usually. I'm not talking about any one player in particular. If you're going to trade out a franchise guy, if you're this team and you're looking to trade out the Sedins, don't just give them away for the sake of giving them away. And I see that. I see fans saying, well, we need to just get rid of them just so we can get rid of them. Oh, okay, and then what? Because I remember Bruins fans thinking that about Sagan. I've heard Bruins fans say that in the last year or so about Tuukka Rask. I don't know. And I remember seeing that on the Bruins Facebook page where the Bruins lose a game and all these fans are like, oh, Rask didn't show up. We should just trade him. And I'm like, yeah, let's go down to no goaltenders. That's a good idea. That's why I don't pay any attention to rumors. I don't pay any attention to what people are saying online, and I try not to get into trade speculation. If you're going to trade a guy, get full value back. There's a reason Marty Brodeur was a Devil forever. The Devils could have got the moon for Marty Brodeur years before he retired. They didn't do it, and I never heard anybody criticizing them saying, well, why don't the Devils just trade him? Yzerman with Detroit. If Yzerman's breaking down, the Detroit Red Wings should just trade him. It is the most ridiculous thing that I hear fans say. Oh, we should just trade him for the sake of trading him. It's not NHL 18. It's not NHL 17, and it sure as hell isn't NHL 2004, which was the best game they made. Point being, this isn't an NHL game. These are real human beings. And GMs have to be careful with how they treat their best players or the faces of the franchise. You can't just trade them out. Because look, I put up on the board just some examples of how you trade out a superstar forward. You may not get back what they're worth. At the time of the Doug Gilmour trade, there were a lot of rumors about why Calgary got rid of him. Don't you dare post them in the comment section. I'm not even kidding about that. I don't know. But regardless of what happens and your reason for trading a guy, if he's that damn good, you got to get full value back. You can't go, well, Gary Leeman had 50 goals recently, so he'll probably do that again. That was obviously a fluke. Anybody who watched Gary Leeman get those 50 goals that season knew he wasn't going to get it again. That at most he was a 30-goal scorer. You have to be very, very careful trading superstar players. Because if you're not, you're the Bruins. The Bruins rebuild was self-inflicted back in the early 2000s. Because they kept trading out greats and not getting enough back. And when those greats are on a downward slide, you're not going to get anything back. And then it's really not worth it. Then you're just trading a guy out. Like, if I told Canuck fans, okay, well, the market value for your Sedin twins is a 3rd and a 4th round draft pick. There are Canuck fans would say, all right, well, fine, we'll take it, I guess. Even though the odds of either a 3rd or 4th round draft pick making the NHL are about 12 to 15%. The odds of either of them being what the Sedins have been, offering the kind of value that the Sedins could offer in the future, not just as players, you have to look at other parts of a team's organization. It's just not worth it. And if you're an Islanders fan, trading Tavares would be disastrous. Because I look at the offers that people say, oh, well, they could get this, this, and this. I don't care if they get 4 first-round draft picks. Look at the 3 that the Oilers got. Unless you have shoe-in superstar draft picks, there's no point. And wherever you send Tavares, that team's going to get better. You made those draft picks worse by trading Tavares there. Unless you're getting equal value back and 3 or 4 first-round draft picks, which isn't going to happen. All right, so there you go. You guys can let me know why I'm wrong in the comment section below. I'm sure guys will post trades that were superstar for superstar or that worked, like Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. My argument, if that's one that you want to use, is Taylor Hall's young and so is Adam Larson, and that's not comparable with the Sedins. Neither was a pending unrestricted free agent, so both teams knew what they were going to have to pay these guys, and you know, this is that silly part of the year, and it's going to continue right up until the trade deadline of where are these guys going to go. Honestly, I have a funny feeling the biggest names aren't going to move. Except maybe Duchesne. And just give me a dice, assign a team to each side of the dice. I'll roll it, and wherever it lands, sure, that could be where he goes. Because nobody really knows right now. Alright, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and I'll talk to you again soon.